Welcome back to AWE TV. My name is Mark Pizer. I'm sitting here with Chris Stapleton, who is the Creative Venture Catalyst for Simosys. Chris, I want to talk to you about your understanding, your experience in developing stories. You've been developing stories for 15, 20 years now. The term you've thrown around is mega theme parks for Universal, Disney. That's a lot of technology.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that no matter how much technology you throw at something, the story is what really brings people in.
Yeah.
So you are giving a presentation here at AWE today, tomorrow, based around stories. What do you see as one of the needs for a lot of these companies here, a lot of these exhibitors, these presenters? How do you see them, what's the need they should use to apply a story so that people understand the technology? What's your views?
Well, that's interesting. Understanding the story to understand the technology.
Sure.
And its purpose.
And which comes first? Is it a back and forth? Is it technology rules the story? Does the story rule the technology? Do we need both?
Yes, we need both. Okay. So language is a technology. Okay. We didn't have it. It was a disruptive technology.
And it was invented?
Yeah, and it augments our world.
Yeah.
Computer-generated mixed reality is also a technology. Okay. But mixed reality has existed for many centuries.
Yes.
We've been mixing those medias, and especially in mega theme parks that I did.
Yeah.
And one of the things I realized in my career is I spent hundreds of millions of dollars servicing.
Sounds like fun.
Yes, in rapid amount of time.
Yeah.
Entertaining millions of people in the flesh and blood. Okay.
Yeah.
I never really got into communicating with an audience at another place, another time. I like the flesh and blood here and now.
Live,
engage,
on-site.
immerse,
Yeah.
use all senses, all dimensions, all directions, and all realities.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that this mixed reality community needs to understand.
Yeah.
Is that there's reality, there's virtuality,
right.
and this is what I call imaginality.
Imaginality.
The imaginary reality is the reality that rules all other realities.
Okay, so imaginality, there's three realities, imaginality rules the other two?
The magic is behind the eyeballs, which is what they say in entertainment. Because what we do is in artistic conventions, take the limitations of the technology and bridge it to the limitness of the imagination.
Okay.
And so artistic convention has to start with the limitations of technology. And that's where this technology needs to go. There's solutions looking for problems. And the solution is I can get the power of virtuality, the compelling aspect of reality, and I can put it where I need it, where I'm at, where I'm doing, into my life.
Yeah.
I don't have to go somewhere else. It's here now.
Okay. Who of these creators is actually doing that now? Is it the UX designer? Is it it's the whole team? I mean, engineers put in a lot of heart and soul into what they're building. There's artists who try to take an emotional approach to what something should look like. Who is that job being done now for AR, for VR, for Internet of Things, for wearables?
That's a great question, because what I'm seeing a lot around here is look at me, look at me, look at what I've done.
Sure.
What they need to be saying is look at them, look at what we've been able to transform their lives, and look at what we've been able to do for others.
Okay.
That's where the magic is, and that's one of the things I've been working with AR, is looking at aphasia therapy, education, transforming lives with people who never heard of mixed reality or augmented reality, and be able to bring that in to say, hey, this can solve a problem.
Sure.
And these are solutions looking for problems. And so that's where I'm trying to mix up with this crowd to say, hey, I have some problems, you have some solutions, let's throw some stuff together. Gives meaning to your technology, gives ability to my problem, and get to the next stage.
Why did you start, just curious, why did you focus some of your on aphasia? You're applying mixed reality to
this last year. I've been focused on aphasia.
Yeah.
I find problems and I dig in.
Okay.
And so aphasia is a loss of language due to a stroke or head trauma.
Yes.
And the loss of language is a technology.
It's a technology.
And they lost it. And so that's like us losing the internet. It's like oh my God, this is a technology we depended upon.
That's a good analogy.
but losing the internet doesn't make you any dumber or any. You are who you are with or without the internet.
Yeah.
That's the aphasia. They're trapped inside their head, and they need to communicate. But we're so dependent on words that they can't. It's hard for them to participate in life.
Right.
Speech is the #1 prejudice in our modern world over gender, culture, race. The way you speak looks down on them, and this is the problem. The scientists say you lose speech, we have to relearn speech or language, and it's not true. We have to rediscover communication.
Sure.
That may find a similar thing, but what we're doing with aphasia is being able to bring them into immersive story worlds.
Okay.
The story, we're hardwired for story. We don't need language for
We've been telling
story.
stories to our families, our tribes for years, centuries. Right.
And so what we're taking with mixed reality is the real virtual imagine is being able to create these story worlds that communication is flowing. That words don't become the stumbling block. They become the challenging kind of achievement. And that what we're doing mostly is taking people who do know language and let them understand how to listen, how to understand. Because we're the disabled people because we depend too much on language.
Okay. Does that turn into us depending on technology, for example?
Yes, we've depended so much on language, we've lost our other spectrum of communication in relationships and in conversation. So I presented last time this idea of conversational storytelling, and tomorrow I'll be talking about how that's being able to release these people with aphasia into being able to participate with life again.
Okay. And that's a real world problem.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've seen results.
Millions of Americans have aphasia.
What have you been asked here at the show in terms of storytelling, applying that, after telling them the story, or your experience with helping people with aphasia, with mixed reality? What are other people asking you for? Are they asking you for direction?
Well, right, and I've been working with story with all these different applications, all these technologies, and what's happening is every time story transcends media. Sure. But storytelling depends upon each media form. Each media form, literary, the book, it's a new form of storytelling. Cinematic language, it's a new form. Storytelling depends upon the media. Story transcends media. Sure. So now we have a new technology. We have a new opportunity to tell stories differently.
Telling it,
but differently this time. It's not a limitation. It's convergence of all conventions.
And I could see that already happening with VR. 360. I can tell a story. Should you though?
Well, see, the thing is that we're coming from the American Hollywood cinema way of telling a story.
Right.
That's 20th century.
Yeah.
Me telling your story. Here's the equation. My storytelling plus your story listening creates this story trance that takes you to another world. Your listening is as much important. Ernest Hemingway said, I only write 1/8 the story experience. But the reader brings in 7/8.
Fills in the rest.
It's the story beyond the page. Yeah. It's the imagination.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing here is just what we see here. Is they haven't tapped into that imagination that makes what they have 8 times more what it is. And that's where they're asking me, is saying, well, how do you do that with the other mediums? What are the conventions we can use from the past, or what are new ways to look at it? So I'm bringing them new kind of heuristics, because I'm probably one of the few people that have worked in all forms of media, all forms of entertainment, and then now applying them to education and training and medical and
getting
therapy.
real results.
Well, in the last year, I had no experience with aphasia. And in this 1 year, working with the aphasia community immensely, and with therapists that really wanted to change, we were able to present to the National Aphasia Association and blew them away. This is going to be a game changer in what we're doing with story troves, and it's not a game changer that's disruptive. It's what they want. It's not disruptive. It's liberating. And that's where innovation should be.
Yeah. Speaking of disruptive innovation, what do you think is going to happen in the next 12 months? What do you think part of your presentations next year at AWE? What should we expect to see?
What you're going to expect in the next year is that all these big corporations that have committed billions of dollars is going to pull stuff behind the doors. The little people and the small groups that really make a difference are going to get tired of waiting for them, and they're going to start creating their own solutions, and we're going to be surprised next year by the small players, not the big players.
Okay. Well, there's truth. There's a lot of truth. Are you're being completely honest though, right?
I'm going to make it happen.
You're going to make it happen. Well, I can't wait to see you next year here and make it happen. I'm Mark Pizer again. This is AWE TV, and with me is Chris Stapleton from Simosys. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.